Hey, people. I done worked up a sweat. I got the Gulfport police to smile for me after threatening to take me to jail. So I'm sitting here minding my own business. I was getting set up to make a movie, and I looked out my window, and I seen this truck in my shop, and these two guys rummaging through my shop. So I went out there, I walked around the back, and I seen they had out-of-state tags. Left the truck running, so I got in the truck, and I watched these two guys rummage through my shop for a while, putting my tools in their pocket. They didn't even hear me get in it. So I backed their truck out, and I chased one of them around the building in his truck. I pulled it out on the road and went down the street to call the law. So I went and parked about a half mile down the street to Taco Sombrero and waited on the law to get there. And so one of these guys walks up first. It done been 15 minutes, and I talked to him another 15 minutes before the law got there. So after sitting out in blistering sun, about 102 degrees out there, explaining what happened to 5 of them that really aren't real bright, they're just trying to figure out how they can get the maximum bond. So they're thinking, hell, they want to take me to jail for stealing this guy's truck. I done had $10,000 worth of tools stole out of my shed. I don't have much left. So, yeah, they give them their truck back and send them on the road and send me to walk back to go see if what's missing out of my shop. So, yeah, there's nothing left in it. I don't know, they throwed it off in the woods or something. But at least now I don't have to worry about my shop. There's nothing left in it now. But, yeah, I strongly suggest never call the police. Just go ahead and shoot the son of a bitches and take the truck across the scale, sell it for scrap iron. But yeah, I always knew the cops were in on it. I don't call them all the time, because all they do is come case the joint out and tell their partners where they can come hit you next. And lucky truth, I got your care package today. It's wonderful. I love the iota. I read your letter and I wanted to respond on some things you said in it. You know, back when I was growing weed, it was a 30-year fine here in Mississippi. You kill somebody, it's just 20 years. But it's 30 years in Mississippi. It's a serious felony. And so back when I was doing it, there was no books on growing it. What I read is if you can grow roses, you can grow weed. And I used to use Peter's potting soil for roses. And it was illegal, so we'd have to carry it out in the woods. And sometimes the plants, it'd start them in the house, and sometimes the plants would break off. But I'd just take the pieces that broke off and stab them in that Peter's potting soil. They'd grow right back up like the rest of it. It'd just be more plants. No rooting hormone, anything. Peter's potting soil is good stuff. And as to commenting on my videos, you're very qualified. If you watch my videos, you're among the smartest people in the world. The rest of the world is in a deep sleep. I'm not always right. I know I'm not always right, and I'm going to prove it at the end of this movie. I'm going to read you something I read long ago. And as to believing that trees are God, that's what the Bible says. It's wide open. It's the first word for God, Allah. That's the word used for God, Allah. Allah is what they say. The God of Israel. This is the same word they'll say is oak. And sometimes they'll say it's an oath. Sometimes they say it means to take. And a lot of times they'll just say it means things. But here you are, in Ba-Allah, in Allah, in the trees. And so, whatever you were worshiping, some people worship things, some people thought we come from monkeys, in the trees. It's B-A-L-E, Baal. The same word they'll tell you is the devil, the dark lord. 1,000 years from now, they'll be digging up your relics, and they're going to think Allah meant the cell phone. And as I look back on my life, I think the biggest God in my life was the sun. Or in the trees. I still climb trees. I spend a lot of time in trees. But, I believe knowledge, is God. Knowledge of life. A-L-E. The knowledge of life. Power of life. And so I think it's many knowledges. I think Thoth wrote this book. And he wrote 7 knowledges in there. And this is what all these extra markings are. And I just figured out not even half of them. And I'm sure it reads 7 different ways. But I believe here it means, the all is the the high, powerful, the all high. And they say this is plural, and it's the first gods, and the all high sat is what this says. All high sat at twice. And this reads, it reads two different ways that I believe I got figured out. The dot and the B tells me there's two of them, and it's in brash. Brash, come in harshly. In brash it, in receive, R-A-S-E-V, receive in. Every time I see that dot in the B, I know it's going with the word before or after. And the received in Ra. And like I said, this guy that wrote this, he just come from Egypt, where they said Ra was God. Also the sun, and brash it, coming down hard, and receive in the sun, all high is, sun god. Talks about all the gods through here. And then the same sun god, when you come back and read it the same next time, it's in brash it, in bear in R, turn around here, B-R-B-A-R, in bear in R. And then Amelia, the god of work. You need something to eat, I got a job for you. Ooh, that's the god. They say the guy that wrote this had just been educated in the Pharaoh's court, and this is Coptic Egyptian, aka ancient English alchemy. And all these capitals like this tell me that it reads several ways. You can see the 3 E's, 3 B's, to let you know the B. And then the first letter, the letter E, 5, let you know to start at the other E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But most of them always read backwards and forwards like that when you see them in block like that. And it's the Anu, the years, blab it, the blab it. BL, that's 2/3 of the word Babel. It's just one more B. In bell means confusion. And the blab it. And so the year blab it, the cover, K-V-E-R, the cover what? The tour. So talking about the year that he was in tour. That's where the word nature come from. It's nay here, nature. And he got his name divided by life, and that's your last name, tour. And the first name isn't cut in love when nature. They say Enki was god of nature and earth, and when the flood come, he had to spend a year on the moon. And so the Anu, the year while he was up on the moon, it said he charted all the heavens. He charted all the stars. Because, the moon, it only spins around every 30 days. You got plenty of time to sit up and watch the stars. And it's the Anu. The An is the heavens, the sky god, Anu. And the sky god, Anu in Labit, astrolabe. He used to take dimensions on. In Labit, cover what? The tour. In cut in rid in, love when is. Writing about this when you had love, you're out on the tour and you try to get hooked up in every town and write about the story while you're sailing. And the Romans say that it was the pagans that were worshiping trees up there, and the Egyptians were worshiping trees and animals, and the Greeks were worshiping planets, and so however you see it, if you're working in astrology, that's your God there, is that knowledge. And so the word God kind of just comes from, if somebody who don't know, it's just God. I can't figure it out is what that means. Something that's too technical I can't figure out. But the people that were sharp enough, it was Allah, Allah, the knowledge, divine life, something to figure out, to learn it. Don't just give up on it, learn it. The power of life is. And so what's taken the brash of, Ra is the trees. And brash it, and receive, and sun, all high is, all high sat, and then two, attest, A-T-E-S-E-S. Attest means a witness. Embrace it, and receive, in Ra, all high is. The sun's up high, it's hot. And so it kind of sounds like it's a musical opening, and starting strong and coming out brash. Embrace it, and receive, in Ra, all high is. At attest, at witness, my mess, M-Y, and then M-E-S. My mess from what? From what at hears. At hears, as in to stick it on. And the witness of the mess. And where arch, move the R over, W-E-R-A-R-X. And where arch height. And where arch hit it, H-I-T-E-T, hit it, the two. And where arch hit it, the two, T-E-W, to shape of who, and husk all around and close in together, which all pippin. The dot in the P means there's two P's. The pippin is a apple, and it's also the P is the open ping place. All pippin two, and then Sir-ru, which all high, all his, and then from rich fit, march all pipping. It's got a different mark underneath here now, and it's all pippin in them miss. And where the arch hit it, is up on the arch, up on the roof where the arch hit it. The two, the shape of who, to husk which, all the face pinging, the face pinning twos, in the twos where which, the first Egyptian gods were the pairs of twos, the toads and serpents. It seemed like if a toad and a serpent got married, their children would be lizards. So it seems more like God is the act of bringing something into life. And not this God, but this God, the knowledge divine life works from. Power divine life work from. All of Him, all His. So it kind of looks like the sun rose hard over the apple orchard. Apple still represents our first letter today. Food, knowledge. And I'll come back and read that the second way. But I wanted to show you something else I found. And this is something that enforces my belief on this diamond up here means to get this letter and read it before. And so now it's Hellamiz. H-L-L-I-M-E-S. To Hellamiz. That's when you're slain. To hell with you. This mark here makes me think that it reads like that on the second pass through when you're reading this, in B ye, and then but, BT, in B ye but who, what, hell is. What the hell with you when you're slain. Because if you read without doing that, it's hell yes, Y-E-S. And so it kind of says, the Anu, the year in Labbit, the cover. The cover of all these old Bibles, they didn't look anything different than the Book of Hours with the cross on it. But I think, the main difference in this word God is something you can't understand, something you don't understand, and Allah is something that you can understand. Or at least know it runs in cycles and you have a theory of those cycles. Yeah, when I see a task, something's going to be difficult, it's a mountain to move, that's what I say is, oh, God. And then I start working on it, and then when I'm done, it's all high is. Feeling all good about myself. But even in But even in their interpretation, they let you know that God is not idols. If you got an idol of it, that's not God. It's something living, or it's an idea living in your head. And if you eat some a la king, it's fit for a king, in style, fit for a king, a la. But when you come back and read it the second time, and you're ignoring this mark, but you're picking up this one, and it's, in rose it, and bear, and then in bear and are a meal. In rose it, bear and are a meal. Anything that you raise that's got a meal growing on it. And it's also connected, this word they say is these things a lot. La, these. And you see, voila, voila. Like a magician makes something happen. Voila. And you see here in Daniel's 12, Michael's deliverance at the end times. And they call it at that time that shall stand up. And it's of at the high age amid in Michael. But when you come back and read it the second time, it has a mark above here. And so you read it Michael, Micah. They say it comes from French and Latin. It means Lord who resembles God, or three trees together, quick and nimble. Three trees, the tree. And I was going to make the next movie on this chapter here, and I was going to show how to read some of these symbols in it. But my head's feeling kind of clogged up today. I feel like I'm scattered all over. But I'm thinking I should have just drove that truck down to my favorite Mexican joint and sold it to them Mexicans in there real cheap. And in honor of Lucky, I'm going to see if I can find my hootie hoo finish.
Don't forget, hootie hoo, I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.